We would like to hear from you and include your questions in the conversation. Using the question panel on the right side of your GoToWebinar player, you can ask your questions or share your thoughts at any time during the webinar. Now, I would like to request the Vice President for Pune, Mr. Aman Rajavali, to welcome our guests and take the session forward.
Thank you, Sheetal. Namaskar, आदाब, good evening, सत श्री अकाल, वणक्कम. बस इतना ही आता है और नहीं आता है. It's such a pleasure to be in front of you all again, and fortunately, I'm able to see the list of participants here, and there's so many known people, and more so, which gives me such a pleasure कि इतने सारे अनजान लोग हैं जो आए हैं, and I can see that people from across India who have joined this seminar. So thank you so much for taking out time and joining in to listen to our stalwarts, our colleagues, our teammates, our leaders, Tejpal Singh Batra and Professor Neeraj Mankad. On behalf of the National HRD Network, I welcome all of you. We have our team consists of Anand Khoth, who is the president. Then we have Salil Malhotra, who is also part of our team, who looks after the design and the media activities. We have Sheetal Mansore, who looks after the coordination, and she is the backbone of the chapter, ably guided by Suchita Chavan. Most of you have interacted with her. And of course, we have, he's wearing two hats. Currently, he's wearing the hat of a trainer, facilitator, and the panelist speaker today, Dr. Neeraj Mankad. He is also part of the team as the treasurer. And the lovely lady sitting there, looking always as pretty as she is, Avni Todi, is part of our young leaders forum. Let me quickly run you through brief about, give you an introduction about our speakers today. Let me start with the very handsome and dashing Professor Tejpal Singh Batra. He has over 30 years of global experience in transformation, program management, operations, information technology, and human resources. He has held key leadership roles in global organizations like Thermax, B&O Nedloyd, and Merckx Limited. Professor Batra has extensive experience in working with top management, understanding business needs, and implement solutions that enables business transform in line with set business goals. He is currently consulting in transformation domain and has designed and implemented customized workshops on analytics and process management for several organizations. इनके अलावा भी इनकी एक और खासियत है, वो मैं आपको बाद में बताऊंगा. Professor Dr. Neeraj Mankad, he is the assistant dean for programs and faculty member in the area of operations and strategy at Flame University, Pune. He has done MBA from Leeds University, UK, and also holds a PhD in strategy from IIT Bombay and conducts courses in strategic thinking, analytics, innovation, and technology management. He has over 10 years of corporate exposure in IT and manufacturing and has been teaching and training for the last 12 years. He has a number of publications to his credit, including coursework for the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research, Government of India. और इनकी एक और खास बात है, और वो मैं अभी आप लोगों को बताता हूँ दोनों के बारे में, कि ये मेरे करीब के मित्र हैं और ये उनका बड़प्पन है, और मैं अपने आप को खुश नसीब समझता हूँ कि मैं उनको अपना मित्र कह सकूं और वो मुझे. सो थैंक यू सो मच हमारी जिंदगी में आने के लिए, हमारे चैप्टर में आने के लिए, और प्रोवाइडिंग योर एक्सपर्टीज इन सो मेनी एक्टिविटीज. Tejpal Singh Batra also runs an NGO called iGift Life. NHRD Pune chapter, we have an MOU with them, that is the official on paper, but otherwise तो हमारा उनके साथ और उनके एसोसिएशन के साथ बहुत करीब का रिश्ता है, दिल का रिश्ता है, and we have been promoting the activities, and time and again we will seek out to you for your support, all the people who have joined your corporates, your companies, individuals, homes, everybody. And towards the end of this session, we will also have a young pretty lady coming on the screen, Arnaz. She will be giving you a very brief about what I Give Life is all about. So, without much ado, thank you so much for joining in, and I give the stage, the screen back to the specialists, the leaders, the gurus. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aman. That was very gracious of you. Like, but आपने पहले बोला था उससे काफी कम मेरा introduction दिया है. But that we will show. We will talk about it once we get over. So, thank you everybody. Aman, Anand, Suchita, Sheetal, Avneet. Thank you so much. For hosting us here. Thanks to the entire NHRDN team, Avinash, the backend in Delhi, our Delhi HO friends who are here somewhere, but the backend is thanks to them. So we must, on our behalf, Tejpal and mine, express our deep thanks to them. Uh, so I think we are sort of ready to go. As Aman said, he's handing it over to us. But Tejpal and me are the ones who have been doing it together for quite a long time. And handing it to us is like giving it to two young children to go, ahead and play out in the field. So I hope you guys have a great time listening to us in this next 45 minutes. So welcome to this webinar on crafting your people analytics strategy. You see, a simple search on Google Analytics revealed a 1.3 billion result. And when we talk of these results, it makes us understand that clearly there is the flavor of the season this time is analytics. And the flavor of the season clearly is HR analytics, or it's called people analytics, it's called human resource analytics, or it's called analytics for the HR function. But the question is, how do organizations look at analytics? People analytics, to be specific. Do they look at people analytics as a strategy? Can there be a strategy for people analytics? And if the answer is yes, then how does one go ahead and craft this strategy? How does one decide on what goes in that strategy? And this is essentially going to be the essence of our session today.
Right. Yes, Neeraj, I think very well put. Yeah, very well put. First of all, good evening, amazing people, wherever you are. I hope you are doing well and safe. Looking forward to interacting with you for next 1 hour. Yeah, I think Neeraj, you said very clear, and I think how do we craft a strategy, right? And I think we have been working together as consultants. I think for us the approach started from looking within, right? I think when we started looking within, and I still remember you and I are working with NHRD some 3 years back when HR analytics was still was the new fashion, right? It was still people were getting used to it. I was coming to fashion, and that where Anand and Aman and team, I think they were ahead of time, and they realized the importance of what analytics could do for HR leaders, right? And I think that's where our journey begin, right? And it's amazing to see 1.3 billion hits there. I believe 3 years back it would be in few thousand. So I think it's a massive thing going. And I think with all the interventions we had with the number of CXOs and other folks, right? Everybody has their own perceptions. Everybody has their own approach, their own inclination of implementing analytics. And to be fair, some have succeeded, some haven't, right? And it all depends on the maturity level, the focus. Sometimes it was people dependent and all that
Yeah.
stuff, and some struggled with the basic issues, right? So I think that's where I think when we started talking about this and saying, should we do a session on that? When we look at people from an organization level, and I think where I think I had the pleasure of working in global organizations and doing various interventions on analytics. I think for analytics for HR as a strategy becomes very, very important. What do you think?
Right. Yeah, Tejpal, absolutely. I sort of would look at it from that perspective, because as a strategy researcher, I think, and someone who's taught analytics at various levels in the MBA and even some higher level analytics, I think it's extremely important, and I echo your sentiment, which you said that. And perhaps, guys, that's one of the reason why Tejpal and I got together and sort of embarked on this particular journey of trying to find, as it's popularly called, the holy grail of analytics, especially people analytics strategy. And it's in this webinar, these are some of the key learnings that we will be touching upon from our consulting, from our training, from our interactions with corporates over the last so many years. We've been able to crystallize on 3 important learnings that we think are extremely essential as we go ahead as corporates to build up our analytics training. But
Right. But
before we,
Neeraj,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
Neeraj,
go ahead.
before we
Yeah.
go ahead, be- before you jump into those amazing 3 parts, which I know very many of people want to hear out, would you want to just give people some basic understanding about what is people analytics?
Yeah, I think we would do that. Before we start doing that, and give me a minute. I will just share my screen so that. Uh, yep, I hope you can all. Tejpal, I think it's visible now, the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, now
So
the screen is there.
essentially, Tejpal and me are firm believers in this statement by Denim. Deming said, "In God we trust, and all others must bring data." And this is perhaps best known these days as displayed with the famous Narayan Murthy sir. But so who was Denim? And for those of you are not aware, perhaps didn't do your operations management course very seriously in your MBA, Deming was a quality guru whom we need to thank for all these super quality cars that we are getting and great quality products that we've got. And it was during this time that mass production was really being introduced in the industry, and Deming was the one who got into picture these kinds of statistical methods, which are so popularly called as analytical tools in today's context. And this we are saying way back in the days of mass production, Henry Ford and those types. I'm sure many of you come from manufacturing industry, and you would be familiar with Deming's work, Deming's quality points. You must be using it in your organizations. And Deming used his data to improve workflows, streamline operations, figure out quality issues, and a host of other things. Is he's actually done. And he got this very critical and important aspect in the field of manufacturing operations, essentially, which is the PDCA cycle, which looks at planning, doing, studying or checking, and acting. And we will come back as we go ahead in this session as to how we could utilize this tool when it comes to people analytics here. So what is analytics for us? As Tejpal mentioned, I would like to add that analytics is the discipline which essentially has evolved at the intersection of engineering, computer science, decision making, and quantitative methods. So it's not really a discipline on its own. It's been borrowing a lot of things. It's more an applied science in that manner. But what's critical are these 3 words of organizing, analyzing, and making sense, because we are looking at analytics from a business perspective. As data is growing, the necessity and the need of organizing data, of analyzing data, and making sense of data becomes even more critical as we move ahead in taking decisions.
Wow, wow, wow. Professor, hold on. This is not your typical
yeah.
2 year, 2 hours long session where we'll give gyan, right? This is 30
All right,
minutes,
all right.
45 minutes.
Yeah,
So chill,
I
chill,
get you. I
relax.
get you. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So let me just add out here what Professor Mankad is saying. These huge words in simple words. Analytics means you have a problem statement and you go looking for data to find a solution for it. Simple term. We are HR people. We love simplicity. So in simple term, it is you have a problem statement. You go looking for data which may or may not exist, and then with using that data, find a solution for your problem statement, which happens by organizing data, analyzing data, and making sense of data.
Yeah, okay. You know what, guys? A secret I like to share in the so many workshops that we've done. Tejpal has never allowed me to go further than this on my own. But anyway, that's beyond that. Yeah, go ahead, Tejpal.
Right. So I think so. So guys, uh, just have a look at the slide, and I would like you to interact with us on the chat, which somehow I can't see. So Neeraj, I hope if you can see. Does any of this, what is on the screen, sound familiar to you? Right, my data is so unreliable that I can't even get accurate head count. I don't know what to measure, how to measure. Our team spend all the time creating reports. We don't know how to translate data into workforce insight. Does any of this make sense to you? And we would like to have few of your comments on the chat, so we really know what you are
Uh,
thinking.
I'm not sure whether I would see the chat, Tejpal, but yeah.
So
Um,
anybody in the backend can help us with that?
so I'm able to see the chat and the questions as well. So every now
Right.
and then I will keep giving you a feel of what the audience is saying. Yes.
Right.
So a lot of people are coming in. Shweta, Rajat. A lot of people are saying that they resonate with these statements tremendously.
Right.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Common thoughts. Yeah, a lot of people are agreeing with the slide. Right?
Neeraj,
Okay.
we need the
Thank
slide
you.
back, mate. Neeraj, we need the slide back. So
Yeah.
I think Neeraj, if you remember one of the incident, where we were doing a session for the whole HR team of our automobile industry company,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
when we
Yeah.
and when we asked them to say when we
The
asked them
number.
that, okay, number of employees on that particular day, and the fun which
Right.
started, right? What do you
Yeah.
mean by total? Do you mean who joined today? Do you mean people whose last day is today, and on, right?
So yeah, I think Tejpal, can you see my screen? I'm not sure whether
Yes, yeah, we can
my
see.
slides. Yeah. So what Tejpal is trying to say, very interesting. I recollect that is the L&D guys. They said for us, number of people is those of whom who are on the rolls today, and the recruitment team said, "Hey, look, I have the accurate number because I know who joined this morning," and the compensation benefit payroll team said that, "Look, I know, guys, last month किसको पगार दिया उतने list है मेरे पास."
Right. So I think the key part, and they actually had a top class ERP system working for them, right?
True.
And I think
But
once we started speaking with them, I think it
yep.
came out
Yep.
that they had no clear definitions, right?
Definitions. Yeah.
They had data,
Yeah.
yeah, they had multiple sources, lot of people involved, and people were downloading data and then working in Excel instead of working in ERP.
True.
Uh,
So I think let's
did they had a template? No, right? But yeah,
I think if all our attendees start reflecting, if the manner in which you deal with data is you download it from the ERP, create your Excel templates and all of that, which is what he's trying to say. But do you fudge numbers? No, right? But everybody is wrong because, but at the same time you are correct because that's the data that you've
absolutely
got.
no.
Yeah.
Right. So I think what we did was that there was a need for a proper, well-defined people analytics strategy. So
True.
I think they had everything, all they didn't have the strategy, simple strategy in place to make all of it work.
Right. So, Tejpal, in your opinion, what is this typical approach that CHROs take? Yeah.
I think experience. I think what we have seen. I think if you could change the slide, Neeraj. I think what we can what we can usually that the CHROs usually take I think two standard approaches. One is and I think pardon me for saying this, but I've seen it multiple times that they have been to a strategy session like this, or they have been to a extra tech show to USA company. Let's go big bang, right? Let's hire some data scientists. Let's hire some people. Let's go big bang. Let's take 5-10 projects at a time.
Right.
Let's define a 5-year strategy and with lots of investment, and then they hope that it works, right?
Right.
And
Right.
the second one is where they come back and they say, okay, they just bring in their reports, L&D recruitment, and they say, guys, we need to implement analytics. You are on your own. You drive for your functions. I hereby empower you to do what you want, and then he's will cross his finger and hope it works. So I
Yep.
think these are the two typical, at least, which we have seen. Am I right, Neeraj?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, either you look at going the big way, or yeah. Okay. We will just switch off our webcam for a minute. I think there is an issue with the audio, so I'm going to simply show the slide. Tejpal, I would suggest if you would do the same.
Right.
I think there's some bandwidth issue.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
Yeah, Aman, I hope this is fine. Do let us know, guys,
Yeah.
if
So
you are facing this. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Tejpal. So I think my question here,
yeah.
therefore,
So
is
Neeraj,
Tejpal. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Tejpal isn't.
Okay. I think he will just join us back.
yeah. Can you hear me
Uh,
now? Can you hear me now?
yes, we can. We can. Yeah. Your voice was breaking in between, Tejpal, so perhaps some connection issue. All right, Aman. I think
Right, right.
I'll
So I've
continue,
also put
Tejpal.
my webcam off just to
Yeah. So I think what Tejpal essentially was trying to look at are these two approaches that we've seen in our experience. This is what we see in corporates, and therefore it brought us in our experience working with all of them. We started understanding what is it that one requires in order to craft this particular strategy. If you want to have a successful people analytics approach, what is it that you must take? So let me sort of begin with one of them. And Tejpal, are you there? No, I think so. I'll just continue. So let me begin with
yes, I'm
one.
there.
Right. So I was just telling them that I'm going ahead and continuing because your voice seemed to be cracking off. Uh, what is it that organizations must do in order to craft this particular strategy? The first approach that we talk about is the decompartmentalization. And let me not say this, show this before I say it. What we are trying to, what we understood, the one of the issues with the organizations was that HR essentially is very silo driven. The function works as a silo. We look at ourselves primarily as, let's say, a recruiter, which is in the area of recruitment, or we are the L&D folks, or I belong to the CNB team. And our understanding here is that for there to be a single point of truth, as it is needed with data, there must be an approach called decompartmentalization, and therefore the HR must behave as a people's function if you want to go ahead and use analytics to the fullest. So we said decompartmentalization of the HR function, because we need to create a vision for people analytics. Hey guys, why are we taking on this project of people analytics? We need to keep the data unique. We need to clarify who owns the data. Where is the ownership coming in from? We need to create process flows for the usage of data. Who gets the data? If someone is asking for data, do we have a process flow? Do we have a data owner? Do we have somebody who verifies whether the data that I have taken and reworked on is correct in the first place or not? So when working on top of the data, we must try and understand to use the source data, and it's always best to create an automated process, or even better, create data sign-offs. This is the first stage essentially, right? Tejpal, you want to add in?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I
Are you
can.
able to hear me, guys?
Yes, Tejpal.
Okay. No. Right. So no, I think you continue. I've just been able to hear you out, so I think I'll join up in a minute. I'll
All
catch
right.
up with you in a
Okay.
minute on this
So
topic.
that's great. So that's where uh, that's essentially where we think decompartmentalization is critical. The second point is we need to
Yeah,
prioritize.
Neeraj.
Yeah.
Neeraj, can you go back?
Yes.
Can you go back? Right. Okay, I'm back. Can you? Yeah. No. To the uh, decompartmentalization slide.
Yes, this is where we are, Tejpal.
Yeah. So in short, you are saying. Yeah. So in short, you are saying कि it's data and the strategy which matters. बाकी सब मोह माया है. ERP वगैरह
Yes.
वगैरह
Yes.
वो सब मोह माया है. अगर आपका data और strategy is not in place, then nothing will work.
True. And the second is we would want to look at is prioritizing. You need to focus on key business problems, and try and use your analytics to add value. Try and look at how you can solve practical issues, practical problems, add to the top line or the bottom line. Perhaps from an integrated perspective, how as an integrated people's function can you look at problems which will be focusing on requirements of business. Let's give an instance. Business comes to you and says, guys, look, you've been giving me people, and these resources are all staying with me for the next couple of months, and they're all going away. There's got to be some issue. What's happening? That's an issue with the business. Who's going to provide value? Who's going to provide solution? We as an HR, we're going to go back, look at what happened, look at where in the whole process, based on the data that we have, can we look at why people are going. Another case which we had was with one of the organizations, where the business came to them and said, hey, look, you guys have been making me do interviews every couple of days in a week. I do it for so long, and then we roll out offers and nobody joins us. The rate is too less. What happens, right? So those are key business issues that we essentially need to look at if we are trying to prioritize on the problem that we are trying to achieve. The next aspect here is essentially we are trying to look at how uh, you know how do you build top down analytical capabilities. Now, what is this top down? Tejpal, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Okay. Uh, yeah. So how do you build that top-down analytical capability? You want to continue, Tejpal?
Yes, right. So I think
You bet.
after what is explained by Neeraj very nicely. I know that we decompartmentalize, bring everything together. I think which is very very important. We define the priorities. Now, one thing to add in the priority would be please focus on business. Right, we as HR are business partners or are equal partners. So focus on the business priorities, and I think pick up a priority which will actually show benefit to the business, which is very very important. And then when you are doing that, we have to build up our internal capability of our people on analytical front, right? Just by getting people from outside many a times will not help or will not work, right? So we need to just by hiring one data engineer or a data scientist will really not will really not work. We have to get our internal people, including business managers, getting exposed to analytics so that everybody's on the same page. They appreciate what you are doing and then how it needs to be done. What do you say, Neeraj?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think that is something which has in multiple interventions that we've done. You see, sometimes what also happens is that uh, the problem is something that we as HR folks assume is a problem when problem when in reality that's not really what the business is actually looking out for. So should we focus our energies on doing that or not is the question that we need to ask.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Neeraj,
yeah,
as rightly said by Mr. Porter, uh, culture eats strategy for breakfast, right?
right,
So
absolutely.
so if you don't set up a culture which is going to support analytical based approach, then we're going to have problems.
Yes. And taking this, taking your cue further, Tejpal, when you talk of culture and building an analytical culture, I think the third point that we want to talk about is a very uh, sensitive point because one needs to look at building analytical capabilities top down. And this, in our experience over the years with multiple people whom we have interacted with in the HR function, the HR capability need to be built top down, right?
Yes, and I think I got logged off in between, but I'm somewhere. I think did you speak about our experience where we get participant joining our
No, no,
workshops and going back all excited about doing that, and only after that we hear that they have faced resistance of what they have learned to be introduced in their organization, Neeraj?
no, we did not. I think we should talk about that. I think these are experiences that we've got, very, very eager to learn, extremely capable analytically. HR folks who come get trained and then they go back, you know, saying that I think they came to you, Tejpal, right? If you can share with the
Yes, yes.
participant, yeah. If you
Right.
can
So
share
so
what
I
were
think I
they
think we
was.
had. Yeah, so I think one was that I think was we stay in touch with all the amazing people we work with, and I think the key word was that I learned all about what needs to be done. I learned about data, learned about data quality. But the moment I go back to my organization and I ask them, let's sit down and then let's start to bring it all together. The key part is that this is my function. Why are you looking into this? Or this is mine, why are you looking into this? So if you want data, I'll give it to you, you manage yourself, right? And that, so I think that's where all the excitement with which people learn analytics, when they go back, I think it comes down, and that's where the culture, and I think that's where part of this strategy which we are trying to make it sound so simple is all based on building up a culture, building up an environment where data is available to all. There's a single version of truth of data, and everybody uses the same instance so that proper database decisions can be taken. Neeraj.
Yeah, I think at this, we also need to, and this is essentially for, some of the folks out here who might be leading their HR functions in whatever capacity you may be. Uh, it might seem sometime not necessary to be knowing some of the intricacies of analytics or trying to understand what analytics is. You would say that, I've got data scientists with me, we've got people who are working, we've got people who have created these dashboards and so on and so forth. But I think it's important for those who are leading HR functions to develop their analytical capabilities, is because this will give them the sense of separating the woods from the trees. It will give them an idea of, once the analytics is presented to you, how do you make use of that data? Have have people been presenting to you the correct approach of analytics? Were there different methods that we could be using? Is the data correct? What questions to ask become very critical if you are aware of analytical capability,
Yeah,
right?
Neeraj, as you said,
Yeah.
Neeraj, as you said, what questions to ask? So I'm going to ask Avneet. Uh, do you have to ask us something?
Yes, hi. Yes, so there are a
Hi.
few questions that have come in. Okay, first and foremost, this is a question from Dilip, who's asking if the HR team should have a small analytics team within itself. That would mean that a couple of people within the HR team would single-handedly be managing analytics, and or should we do a cross-functional training and have the entire team onboarded with the analytics?
Tejpal, I'll let you go first. Let me.
Right. Okay. Okay. So again, the point out here is who came first, the chicken or the egg? Uh,
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
right.
First of all, agree as an HR you want to do analytics. Depending on your organizational culture, what works better, do. Start small. What was said by Neeraj, PDSA, Plan, Do, Study, Act. Take up a project. Start to put your data into place. Now, as per your company culture, if it works to be centralized, do that. If it happens to be decentralized, do that. Does not really matter, right? Right? That's what needs to be done. Get started, and as you build onto it, I think that data will take you properly to a place where should it be housed centrally or should it be housed functionally? That is immaterial. Let go. Mo maya chhod do. Look at data and let it work.
Okay, so there's another question from Dilip, who's asking, as an HR, what does analytics really do for me? Will it help me conduct my business, where his business is to probably carry out an appraisal process or to do campus recruitments? How does analytics play into something like that?
Neeraj.
So if I get it right, he's asking how does analytics play into each of these different function,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dilip, if I got your name right, Dilip. So what is analytics? Analytics is essentially trying to make the use of data to understand a solution that you could draft for your problem that you are facing. So whether it is recruitment, whether it is L&D, whether it is a CNB function, whether you are, you're having facility management issues, you are having attendance problems, you are trying to find out who's coming in late and why are they coming in late, reasons you're trying to do. All these can be much can be articulated even more if you have the data right there with you, and you are able to utilize the data to make some keen sense out of it, rather than simply looking at that data and saying, hey, look, 10% of my chap said yes and 90 said no, and therefore know it what it is, right? It doesn't give you a correct picture. So the simple answer is yes, it could be used across any HR function.
Yeah, so to give a specific answer to Ms. Dilip, because we're talking data, so data should be specific. Dilip, if you're doing campus interview, what if you could look at data of last 5 years of all the campus interview you have done? and do a analytics and come to a conclusion that okay, these are the 3B school where I get the highest number of recruits and who stay with us for the highest number of time. Imagine how easy for it will be for you to go back and then plan your campus interview and do it more effectively.
Okay, so there's another question that I have here, and this is, I think, a question that I also have in mind. What are the different kind of tools that you would recommend for an organization or for an HR personnel who would be just getting started with data analytics? Because I remember back when I was working with one of these organizations, I used to primarily start working with Excel, then gradually moved to an SPSS and a Power BI from Microsoft. And then I was always caught wondering whether I should learn R or not, because I don't come from an engineering or a software background. And somehow I felt a tad bit handicapped. So I was just wondering, and this is also a question from Vidhu, who's asking what tools should we take?
Okay, so Vidhu and Avneet. So I will talk to Avneet because I can interact with you. So, but Vidhu think I'm interacting with you. So Avneet, when you were 5-year-old, you wanted a small tricycle, sports bicycle, or a Ferrari?
A bicycle for sure.
Yeah, a small tricycle, right? Not even a bicycle,
Sure.
a tricycle, right? So I think our answer, and I hope Neeraj will back me up. Start small. Start with Excel. Our experience is 50 to 60% of your work Excel can do very well. Get used to it. Free up your hand. See the advantage. Show the benefit. Once you know how to start, how to ride a tricycle, go to a bicycle with spare wheels. Do some Excel add-ins. Then go for a sports cycle, which will be a BI, and then look for R and Python. Take it easy. It can be achieved.
So Avneet, let me answer it in a he said it in a very rhetoric way. I'm going to give it you specifics, right?
Sure.
What is the capability that you use in Excel as an HR? You use data sheets, you do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, you find out percentages, you find out year-on-year changes, etc., etc.
Right.
Most of the HR people I've seen doing are pivot tables. We are all experts at creating pivots. We are all experts at creating graphs based on pivots, presenting that data, right? Those are all Excel. But do we know that we can do regression using Excel,
Hmm.
right? Do we
That's why
know we
people
can do
sign up for those specialized courses and things, I guess. Right?
Yes. So, in our opinion, Excel itself gives you a high, amount of usage that is possible. And to talk to your question, that I don't know R and all of that. Hey, there are guys in the market who know R. You got a
Hmm.
problem, you go to them, you show them
Hmm.
your problem, you show them your data, and you tell them what you want, and they'll give you solutions based on that,
Okay.
right?
Right.
But what is
And
you?
only
Yeah,
sorry, Neeraj.
as Avneet, the HR head or the HR manager, what is your requirement of an analytics tool? Do you want to be an expert? Do you want to write in your CV that I'm the most expert when it comes to an R? Nobody is wanting to understand whether you know R or not. You want to understand how are you using that data to get decisions through,
Right.
right? Yeah.
And just to add there, I think people, and I think most of us, initially when me and Neeraj also started, we thought analytics was tool. Tool is a enabler, is not a solution. But
Yeah.
bulk part of analytics is to understand how to identify a problem statement, how to define a problem statement, how to figure out what data is required, and then you need a tool to make sense out of it. So in
So,
4 steps, tools is 1 step.
yeah. So we could go on and on for this, it's
Yes,
something we
yes.
are so passionate about, so we'll talk about this. But I give my undergraduate students in research, I give them this business students. I give them this example that if you want to go from here to Delhi, what's the best way would you go? What's the problem? Problem is to reach Delhi. what are the tools available? You could walk, you could take a bullock cart, you could take a bus, you could take a flight, right? You could take a helicopter. Now that's a tool, that's an enabler. If you take a bike, you'll reach faster. If you take, and then it again depends, what kind of data you have. Do you have data in MB? Do you have it in KB? Do you have it in gigabytes? Do you have it in much larger numbers than that? For a smaller set of data, you may not require an R. You may be okay with an Excel. With a larger set of data, you will not be able to do it in Excel. You will have to look at other tools. That's the kind of interaction one should have with tools.
Okay, sure. I think there's a question from Ekta, and Ekta wants to know, how do I develop analytical skills? She's saying, apart from attending workshops and trainings, how do I develop that analytical thinking within myself and my team for data interpretation?
See, it's again taking Tejpal's example. It's about like learning swimming or a bicycle. You can't do it. It has to be done practically over and over and over again until and unless you start building that skill, right? And what I would suggest, and that's what we recommend many of the people participants who meet, plus some of the companies that we go into to look at giving solutions, is that start very small. Right, start with mean median mode, go a little further than that, try and understand how that could work. Take a couple of examples of projects where you could understand how this is working, go step by step into increasing your analytical capability. Don't try and jump right at the top. Take one small step at a time, because most of us do not come from these backgrounds. Though it does not require high statistical skills, but it does require you to understand these techniques, and therefore it will take us a little time. So be patient, be mindful of the fact that, yeah, it's not something that we've done, but it's not something that we can't do, right? That's my advice.
So yeah, and
Tejpal, we can't hear
Avneet,
you.
just to add to it, usually what happens. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So what happens is, and I would like to see if people agree with me. We usually have a solution in mind, and we then play with the data to prove our
True.
solution right.
Yes.
We already know in our mind what we want to show, and then we work on data to prove ourselves right. You could start with a simple practice of saying, I'm going to let the data speak. Let me see what the data analysis show me, and basis that, I'm going to make up my mind. That will be the first brilliant steps toward having analytical thinking.
Yep.
A question from Surendra. So what are the key ingredients of any analytics, and what are the must-haves that you need to have in any analytics? And then what are the top 5 people analytics trends that one needs to look out for? Maybe in the employee life cycle, if you could give one from each part of the employee life cycle.
Okay. Tejpal, which one would you like to take?
Actually, Avneet, you will have to repeat it for me. My internet is slightly fluctuating.
Sure.
So
Not a problem at all, sir. So what are the key ingredients of any analytics, and what are the must-haves in those analytics? And then the third part of the question is, what are the top 5 people analytics that one HR should look out for, perhaps through the entire employee life cycle?
So
okay.
if
So
I can,
why don't you start, Neeraj? I will take the trends.
yeah. So if I can start with the first one about what are the key analytics and how. So I think what one needs to understand here is, if you look at what we spoke in this presentation about these 3 aspects, and let's break it down into 2 parts. One is at an organizational level. Unfortunately, in organizations, not much of thought is being given at developing organizational people capabilities. We are not saying at an individual level, Avneet may be excellent in analytics and the whole team consisting of the people function may be great at analytics, but we need to have an organizational when you have a recruitment, don't you have a recruitment strategy, right? Why don't you have something similar for analytics? That's in my opinion the first point. Second, there is at an individual level, so I'm distinguishing this between organization and individuals. At an individual level, the motivation must come from within. What level of individual analytical capability do you want to develop, right? Some of them may be great at it, some of them may not be. It's not required that every person in the HR function must be great at analytics, right? uh, to some level, some of them would be good, bad, it would work that way. So I think the answer to this question was split it up into organization and individual, and look at where you want to go, and then decide whether you want to give this set of people more intervention training, you want to put them more into problem solving modes. These are the strategic guys, put it at in that level.
Okay, just adding on to it, Avneet, pretty clear. So I think that my answer would be on the similar line, saying that, and which is our stage 2 of our strategy: define the priority.
Yep.
Just because I tell you, or Howard tells you, or HBR tells you there are the 8 trends, we should not next day morning wake up and say, wow, I'm going to do this. Now look at what is hurting you. So in your organization, if your problem is attrition, start with that. If your problem is absconding, start with that. If your problem is high potential leaving, start with that. Right? So look at your problem and find a solution. Analytics is not a fad. It is a tool which can really help you do your job much better. So let me give you an example, which is our favorite. You have a no-show, a very high percentage of no-show, which is everywhere, right? So let's say you're running with a very high level of no-show. What if you could use analytics? Could find out the factor where taking into you could make a prediction whether this will join or not.
So
Would that make your
I
life
think
easier? And that's what analytics can do for you. So my request would be, and I'm sorry.
no, I think we lost your voice in between, Tejpal.
Yeah,
So
Neeraj.
yeah, no, we lost your voice in between. So I think what
Yeah.
Tejpal is trying to essentially say here is
Okay.
that
So
is if you know that if this is your problem, then can you create a predictive tool which says that okay, he's the guy based on all these 10 factors that I have identified based on my last 20 or 10 years of interviewing that I've had with different candidates. Can I build a predictive model that who's what is the percentage guarantee of somebody joining me or not joining me? It's possible. Companies have been doing that. Yeah. Avneet, I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you
Yeah.
hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's a very interesting question. It's coming from Naval, and he wants to know, can intangible aspects of HR, such as employee fatigue, be captured as data and analyzed?
Sorry, employee?
Fatigue. We have
Uh,
tools to capture engagement, to capture
yes.
productivity.
Good, superb question, I would say. And let's look at this. And I would like to borrow a little bit from the marketing field, where over the last couple of decades, marketing researchers and analysts have always been capturing the mind of the consumer, right? How are they capturing attitudes, behaviors of consumers? How do they know that Avneet is going to buy X brand and she's looking at these? What is the perceptions that she has in her mind? It is so statistical tools are available wherein you can make use of perceptions, you can make use of behavior, you can make use of things which seemingly aren't physical in nature in that sense and more behavioral, to convert them into data points and then put them back. So if you're looking at fatigue, I think, can you go one step beyond that? How will you define fatigue is important. When
Hmm.
you say fatigue, does it mean the frequency of leaves getting less is getting higher and therefore the guy is being
Yeah,
fatigued?
it could
So
translate to absenteeism. Yeah.
yes. So how are you defining that is going to be important for you. But in that, it's extremely critical. I think Tejpal does some work in the text based analytics area. Tejpal, are you there?
Yes, I'm there. I'm there.
Yeah. So he
Can you
he
hear me?
captures. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead with the exit interviews and all of that.
Right.
Yeah. So I think to give you an example of Neet out here, like when we do exit interviews, I'll give you two
Hmm.
examples.
Sure.
We do exit interviews. We take lots of information. Bulk of them are words, right? Employee writes
Hmm.
lots of words and tells you their feedback. HR business
Yeah.
partner writes. Have you ever thought as HR that we can do something like a sentiment analysis and look at those
Hmm.
words and figure out
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are those words trying to tell us, positive or negative? Understand the mindset or psyche of the employee, and that can give you an insight which up till now in HR has never been explored. So that can be explored. Now, second
But
example, what you were talking about. uh, Sorry, Neeraj. Yeah.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. A second example was we did an interesting project, and hi Nawal. Interesting project where you could actually looking at all what was said by Neeraj, looking at the planned leaves taken, unplanned leaves taken, looking at the performance rating of a person and other parameters. You can actually make a prediction of when would an employee might quit. You actually can do all that. It's all about, for my ways, everything can be measured. Do you have the stamina and the mindset to define it and measure it?
Okay.
Yeah. Any other interesting questions, or we could spend a couple of minutes on winding up the PPT and then take them?
I think let's
Just
do that. Let's wind up the
yeah,
PPT and then we can always come back to this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Are you able to see this on the screen, the PPT?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we spoke about building top-down analytical capabilities, and I think Tejpal, you should go ahead with this.
Yeah. So I think there are few other things which is very very important, and thanks to Avneet bringing up those interesting questions and doing all that. I think them have been cleared, but I will just try to summarize it again for you. I think when you're looking at analytics, which we have spoken a lot, try to co-create. If you try to do it in isolation, it will not work. It could be partnering with other HR function. It could be partnering with business managers. Prioritize business critical issues is when you partner with your stakeholders, is when they are willing to work with you, give you data, give you time. So one important thing in analytics is always try to co-create. Very very important. The second one, let data speak. So I'm going to just have a bit of a fun, Neeraj. On
Yeah.
chat, can somebody tell me what does the meaning of HPPIO is? Can
I
anybody,
think
Avneet, can you tell me what is HPPIO?
No, sir. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. So it is highest paid person in office. So don't go by the opinion of your boss or by somebody senior. They say I think it should work like this. Let data speak. do data analytics, go by data and say, this is what data tells me to do, and this is what I think we should do. Don't go by a person who said, I have done it 5 years earlier, 10 years earlier, do it that way. Let data speak. The third one, remember, HR is a change agent or a change catalyst. Facilitate change. Because when you try to bring in analytics, your own HR people will resist because we don't like change. The business manager will resist, your IT department will resist. Act as a facilitator between all three of them to optimize your output. Like it was said by Neeraj very nicely, that you need to know what you want to do with your data. And if your IT department has somebody who knows R, go and use them. Maximize your output, right? And I think that's what we need to do. So we need to co-create, we need to let data speak, go by database stuff, facilitate change. And the last one, finish what
Yeah.
you start, finish your story. There is nothing like a successful story and communicating it effectively. What do you say, Neeraj?
Yes, and I think Tejpal, I would give more emphasis on the last part in communicating the results of the an analytical journey that you have got. Because let's be honest here, many times, and that's what we've seen when we've got ahead and got data from organizations and try to look at what they've been doing. When data speaks, data tells the truth, and the truth is not sometimes what is needed to be heard. And therefore, how do you communicate this data is also extremely critical. It's not that you communicate the data, you communicate the results by changing the data or so and so forth. But there is a method by which you communicate. For example, if you are communicating uh, uh, stories that somebody does not want to hear, perhaps you need to change the scenario in which the story has been built. There are a lot of ways in which you could communicate data, but what you must understand here is that if you want to communicate a data, there's a specific art involved in communicating what is required to be communicated. People don't want to hear uh, you know statistical language in your communication, and
And
especially the senior
that's why
management.
I had stopped you when you were giving us gyan about what is analytics.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Neeraj, so I
Yeah.
think you had very nicely explained to us uh, three steps in building up the strategy, which was decompartmentalize, prioritize, build down, top down analytical capabilities, right?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and 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 then you had mentioned that you will talk to us about the Deming's model again.
Yeah, so this is it, Tejpal. I think and you heard in my introduction, Aman said I am from the operations area. Most of us who do analytics really come from there, because that's, I would like to call it as the mother of analytics, if you may. Denim's PDCA cycle approach is extremely critical. You need to plan your data strategy, design your analytical requirements, etc., etc. You need to do, because you need to implement that, check performance, check the results, see if it's actually achieving the goals, meeting the goals, and act and decide on what changes. And this needs to be a a cyclic approach, right? And Tejpal has gone ahead and given it a different flavor altogether, and it's very interesting the way in which you could build it on an agile mode.
Absolutely. So I think what do we do in Agile? We break up our bigger requirements into smaller parts so that we can deliver one part as per the priority, show value to the business or to the customer, get the feedback. If we require to change something, we can change it effectively, and then we can build up we can do the work together, and then we can have a successful story. So what I wanted to do out here was that if you can't relate to PDCA, obviously you will relate to Agile, right? So the key part out here is pick up small chunks, make it successful, build up the blocks. In the end, you will have what you're looking for.
Right. Sure. So here are some of our more important closing remarks, and then we would open it up again for questions. Is that first steps in and out of anything is extremely difficult, and I think that is where most of us are struggling to find out how and where and when to make this particular first step. But trust us, guys, it's the difficult one. The next one that you take after this will become more like a practice and take you further and further away. Yeah, Tejpal?
Yeah, and I think I would say that it's all about taking the first right step, no matter how small. And hence, I think what is recommended by Neeraj when we spoke about the three step was, start small, pick up, define your priority properly, get your data into place, start doing it. Once you build it, you taste success into a small project. You will find that people will come to you and say, what more can we do? And that's where you get the whole momentum going, and you can build around it.
Right, yeah. And I think at an organizational level, because we are actually talking about how do you build an analytics strategy at the organizational level. I think it's important for us as leaders of the function to understand that we need to be in this together. So unless and until everyone is in the same train going to the same destination, people will start going off in at different stations out if you are not able to take them along through the entire journey. So I would urge organizations to essentially look at you know taking steps to create this entire journey for all of them who are participating in it, and which essentially will add value to the function within the business. Yep, we would be ready for questions. Over to you, Avneet.
Yes. Okay, so a lot of people, Dilip, Tanya, Medha, and Ekta want to know, and Priya, what courses do you recommend for starting out in HR analytics?
So I think to begin with, see, there are a lot of people, lot of organizations who are offering courses in analytics. Uh, in our opinion, we would want you to look at depending on the skill that you already have and what you would want to go ahead and what level you would want to reach. NHRDN is also offering and going ahead will offer a lot of certification programs in analytics as we've been doing. What I would look at is trying to build on focused programs for the function rather than looking at you go to a lot of online providers of courses in general analytics. Perhaps it's better if you specifically choose one that's more customized to the people or the HR domain. Yeah.
Right. And just to add to it, Avneet, a small point is, remember, it's a skill. It's not a certificate. So when you're picking up any course, look at, are they offering you hands-on practice? If there is no hands-on practice, you have to ask yourself, how will you gain skill?
Yep. Or pick up the standard 12th or the standard first year, second year business research method book and go
Hmm.
through it is on your own, and that would be great.
Okay,
Beginning point.
yeah, makes sense. Uh, so there is a longish question from Mayur, which says, how do we create a self-tuned algorithmic analysis using central limit theorem and multivariate regression in HR? Can you share some predictive models? And then again, what are the top 5 to 10 analytical factors across the entire value chain?
You know
Yes,
what?
employee value
The
chain.
question itself has a lot of analytics in it.
Yeah.
And when you talk of central limit theorem, the central limit theorem essentially is the bell curve which we all talk about. And when you talk of regression, so I'm finding the entire question a little confusing to me, to be frank. So Tejpal, I'm not clear on how I should answer that.
No, so I think you know me. I find answers for anything, so I'll find answer for this. So I'm saying, Mayur, if you are already way forward in the journey where you are talking about all these high level algorithms, friend, start looking at machine learning and artificial intelligence. It will give you insight in what you're looking for.
Okay. All right. So there's another question, which is how can analytics help in contractual labor data? This is from Vishal.
Again, I think as we mentioned, what is the problem that you are facing that you want to use analytics? Do you want to? Is there anything specific, in the contractual data that you want, that you are trying to figure out? So, are you trying to find out, why contract labor does not stay, or would you want to find out, what category of contract labor performs better than the other categories of contract labor? So I'm saying let's try and figure out a problem that we are facing, and then bring analytics into it, because you could do a host of things if you want with that data. Yeah, Tejpal, you had something.
I agree with you, mate. I think unless that's the key part for analytics. You need to have a problem statement, and I think it's what you are trying to find out. You can do a lot, but the key part is if you like Neeraj said, uh, uh, eh, they don't stay back, or there's a frequent strike. If you have a problem statement, then go looking for data and say why is that happening, and then data will tell you what to do with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think Dilip has a follow-up question, and this is from when he was asking for examples on campus recruitment and how we can use analytics in that. So he's saying HR guys don't really understand analytics, while analytics guys don't really get the hang of HR unless they spend a good time specifically on HR activities. So how do you bridge this gap? As an organization, will always want to get into leading edge analytics within the HR domain.
Yeah, I think Tejpal is roaring to go at the answer. So
No. I think Dilip, a brilliant question, and I think if you see the point
Absolutely.
number three, the point number three, which was mentioned by Neeraj in our model, is that where build the top-down analytical capabilities in HR, is that when you build up this capability where HR is able to understand what is analytics and can then work between identifying the business problem and then has the knowledge of analytics enough to speak to this high-tech nerds and tell them the business problem in a language which they can understand,
Yeah.
and then bring back the solution from the IT guys which business can understand, you are sorted, mate.
How much of this would
Absolutely.
be lost in translation?
Not really, I guess. If you see, and that's what we do in our program. We have a comparison that we make between the HR language, and that's why you see Tejpal and me together here. He's the
Right.
HR guy. I haven't worked in HR at all, but uh, at- what you need to do is understand. So when you're talking about, let me give you an example. When you're saying that I want to find out whether this guy leaves the organization or not, right? What are you trying to find out? If there is an if coming there, right? Even you as an HR know that if is a question of probability. So I want to find out probability of the guy going. Now, what are you talking? You're talking the analytical language, talking statistical
Hmm.
language. Was it
Right.
difficult to know that? Right? And therefore, some effort that must be made to understand the basic concepts that are there. But these are not difficult. They're more perceived difficulty, because you don't want to be a PhD in mathematics or statistics. All you want to do is to understand these. You want to know, okay, what do I want to do? I want to relate two things together. And what do I use when I want to relate things together? I want to predict something. What do I do? That types.
So if you see in this call, we have Dr. Neeraj Mankad, who is PhD statistics, and I'm acting as a facilitator, which is a HR guy trying to convert his high-tech statistical language into language which HR can understand. So if I can do it, trust me, all of you can do it.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that pretty much brings us to the end of all the questions that I have here.
Right.
Right. Great. I think it was a great experience and lovely questions, if I may, Avneet. They were very good.
Thank you, sir.
So right. Great. Thank you. You're going to hand over to Arnaz now.
Yes, so thank you, Neeraj sir and Tejpal sir, and thanks for everyone who joined us today. I'll hand over to Arnaz now. She's from the iGive Life Foundation, and she will take you through a small video here.
Right,
Arnaz?
right. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Avneet. I would request Sheetal to play the small video clip first. Right. So today what I wanted to talk to each and every one of you who have attended this beautiful webinar. It was really an insightful webinar. As you all saw the statistics towards the end of the video, I'm sure you all must have calculated how many people are there on the waiting list and how many individuals are sitting in their homes safe and sound and healthy. So we need to spread awareness about this particular aspect, about organ donation. But sitting at home and seeing these videos will not help us. And therefore, we have partnered with NHRD to reach out to individuals like you who can help us to spread the word of awareness. Therefore, we would like to request you to collaborate with us so that we could conduct webinars for you so that many people can be enlightened about organ donation awareness. To know more and understand what we truly believe in, do log on to www.igiftlife.com. You can always connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at iGiftLife. To know more, we right now have Tejpal sir who can also help you. And taking the words of Neeraj sir and Tejpal sir of taking the first step, this is the first step that all of us need to take to spread awareness about organ donation. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Arnaz.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Tejpal ji, Neeraj ji, and
Thank you,
Arnaz.
Aman sir.
Avneet, that was, as always, you managed the question answer sessions quite well. To all the participants who are still there, if there are some queries that are unanswered and you want some more information, please feel free to write to us, and हमारे जो experts हैं, they will ensure that all your queries are taken care of. And apart from that, if you still want some more interventions to happen in the analytics field in your organization, do feel free to write to us. As Neeraj also mentioned earlier, that we will be taking on this stream far ahead and very deep. I think next month we are coming up with another such session on HR analytics by our very own experts here. Stay tuned and be connected. Stay safe, and thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you, Aman. Thank you, Aman. Thank you, Avneet.
Thank you.
Very
Bye-bye.
gracious of you.
Avneet,
Thank you.
thank you very much. Akash, thank you.
Thanks, Arnaz.
Thanks so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a nice day, guys.
Goodbye. We take your leave now.
Bye-bye.